Good afternoon. I am sitting in the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church, and I have the pleasure to be sitting beside Pastor
Bill Schaefer.
Bill Schaefer. Now, you go by Pastor or Reverend?
Whatever. Whatever comes out of somebody's mouth.
Oh.
Most folks call me Pastor Bill, but
Pastor
whatever
Bill. Very
comes
good.
out of their mouths is fine with me. Hey, you works.
Yeah. I wouldn't exactly draw the line of whatever comes out of their mouths.
Well,
who knows these days?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, but that's great. That being said, now the Prince of Peace Lutheran Church, what is the address here?
We are at 1325 Mission Road in Latrobe. We're in Unity Township, right behind the Latrobe 30 Plaza here, where Wendy's and all those stores are. So
Terrific.
we're right behind that.
And what are the times of your services?
We have one service during the winter months. It's 10:30 is our regular service, and in the summer we add a service. Most people get rid of a service. We add a service.
Yeah.
We have an 8 o'clock and a 10:30 service here at Prince of Peace.
And just so if there's some newbies out there, those are all on Sundays, right?
Correct. And we
have to specify.
during the winter months. We do have a Saturday night service on the third Saturday of each month, and there's our chimes.
Yeah, it's very
And,
beautiful. I hope the camera's picking those up.
And so on the third Saturday of each month, we have just a brief, kind of a half-hour service at around 6:30.
Great. Now, as you watching at home can tell, there's a Christmas tree behind me because it's December.
Yes, it is.
Would you like to tell us about your Christmas services? What
Yeah,
are your
well,
plans for Christmas?
We're barreling toward Christmas, like the whole world is. We're trying to slow down a little bit. And,
That would be nice
and
if we had
talk
another
about
week
John
in
the
there.
Baptist
Yeah.
and all those folks. But Christmas Eve is coming, and so we'll have two services, and I serve another congregation that'll have a third service. We're here at Prince of Peace. We'll have a 5 o'clock service and a 7:30 service
On Christmas Eve,
on Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day we'll have a service at 10:30.
here at Prince
Yep.
of Peace. Now, your other church, what is the name of it?
Trinity Lutheran Church in Derry.
Derry.
And, and that's on 4th Avenue, 324 4th Avenue. And their service is at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So in the summer, I'm a little busy. I run an 8, 9, and a 10:30.
I don't know how you guys that have 2 or 3 churches do it. I mean, that must be exhausting at times.
There's days, but most of the time, I'm invigorated by worship. I mean, that's
Right.
my, I'm a worship kid by nature. So, I'm invigorated by that. So.
Had you grown up in church?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I'm not from this side of the state. I'm from the other side of the state, from Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And I was a church kid my whole life. My dad was actually a UCC person, and my mom was Lutheran, and I grew up
How
in
did
both
they
churches. I know, right? And so they brought. I lived in both churches, as I grew up, and ended up. My Lutheran is where I was baptized and things like that, and was confirmed, and all those things that go with growing up as a kid in a church, and then eventually found a call to ministry when I was in my mid-20s, and said, this is where we need to go.
Absolutely.
and went to Gettysburg Seminary.
That's I've been there. Not to take classes. I've just been there to visit.
Yeah,
That's a
but
wonderful place.
It is, and ended up, my first call was in Katanning in Fort City. I was there for 8 years, and I've been here since 2008. So
Wow, it goes fast, doesn't it?
it does.
Now I'm curious. Your mother was UCC.
My dad was.
Your dad was. Was he a little sore that you went your mother's way instead of your way, or was it all good?
I think it was all good because my dad worked, so he wasn't able to get us to worship every Sunday.
Right.
So he would go when he was off of Sundays.
Right.
And and my parent and my mom was able to take us every Sunday.
He was just glad you weren't,
Exactly.
in the pool halls.
I wasn't sleeping in.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Are your parents still around?
No, they passed. My mom passed away when 17, 18 years ago now, and my dad's about 5 or 6 years now.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's that's okay. They were
It's
good
part of
people.
life.
They were great people, and I was blessed to have their guidance and love in my life. So
That's tremendous. Now, you are a family man yourself.
I am. I have a lovely wife, Jennifer. I've been married to her for 21 years now, and my son is 19, and he's at Westchester University out near Philadelphia, and my daughter's a junior at Latrobe.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, one of the reasons I'm doing this is to promote church attendance, to get people to come to church. Do you have an encouraging word to anyone watching to get them back into church?
You know, COVID was hard for everybody. You know, a lot of us struggled through that. Whether we had, I saw a few folks that you've interviewed stayed open. Most of us closed.
Most of us,
and that, you know, and that's what it was for each congregation. But you know, there's a lot of folks that have not come back, and they found whatever to fill that void. And I hope that they would, you know, reconnect. You know, I mean, it's an important part of who we are as people to be in this place. You know, whatever that place is for you of where God is, and sometimes we make it easier because, I mean, we have a Facebook page that we put our service on.
Sure.
We show our video of our services, and you know, I invite you to be part of that at Prince of Peace Latrobe, you know, princeofpeace.com or whatever it is, and I hope that you would come out back to worship and attend. I miss the interaction with some of the folks
absolutely.
that haven't been here.
That's half of it.
You know?
You're just
Yeah.
being in the same room, breathing the same air.
Yeah.
And Christmas is a good time to come back to church.
It is. It's, I you know, I did a many years ago. I was doing a counseling session with a couple, and they were having a hard time. And I said, "Have you thought about just kind of beginning yourself again?" And it was right at Advent. I said, "This is the beginning of a new church year. So maybe if you refresh yourself in that way,
right,
you know, and see it as part of your new beginning of who you are as a couple." And they did, and it blossomed because they started with Advent and they grew out of that.
I'm so glad that story had a happy ending.
It did. They're wonderful people, and I miss seeing them. But it's been a while.
Very anticlimactic, and they divorced.
No. But it was a wonderful thing to say. Is find a new beginning in this place that you love.
Nice.
You know, it's an opportunity. You know, if you haven't been here for a while, that's all right. Nobody cares. We want you to come back and be reconnected again and be part of this family of faith.
I'm sure you've done many weddings, and they all, you know,
have.
there's 3 people in a wedding: the bride, the groom, and of course God above. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
He has to be part of your marriage.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's good.
Yeah.
What are the things you like to preach on and talk about? Current events, Old Testament, New Testament. Anything?
We follow the Revised Common Lectionary,
Okay.
and you know, unless something makes me say, "Oh, we need to look a different direction for this." I generally don't preach politics. I preach the reality of life is that we're all sinners and we all struggle.
Amen.
And there's this guy,
Yeah.
you know, who came to change the world and how we see the world, and by forgiving us of those sinful things that we do. And so we're all sinners. You know, Luther said we're simultaneously saint and sinner. You know, simul justus et peccator was his Latin phrase that he loved so much, because we're simultaneously saint and sinner. We struggle with sin, but yet we're saved by the grace and the glory of God. And so the Revised Common Lectionary allows me to preach the Word of God without putting my stuff out there,
Right.
saying, "Oh, this text would be great to talk about that thing." I don't, you know, I allow the text to lead me where the text leads me,
Right.
not where my brain wants to go.
You
know?
You preach the text your way and your voice,
Absolutely.
but you don't stray from it.
Absolutely, yeah. I really work with where the texts are, whatever. Old Testament, New Testament, Gospel, and then a Psalm, you know, is the Revised Common Lectionary set up. And so we walk with that journey, and where that leads us each week, that's where it leads us each week. You know, so last 2 weeks we've had John the Baptist, you know, the baptism part, and this week we had John the Baptist in jail.
Yes.
You know, and saying, "Are you the one?" Well,
Right.
yeah, he's having a bit of a day. So,
Right.
You know, so Jesus
Even
says,
John the Baptist was a little uncertain at times.
but Jesus looks at his apostles and says, "These are the things that you see and hear. Go tell them about that." Maybe that's what we need. That was the crux of my lesson is, what do you see and how do you see and hear God in the midst of your daily lives and in front of you? And go and tell that story.
Right.
Go tell the people who are having a day. Go sit with the person in the nursing home and tell them the gifts that you've been given and how you're blessed to know them. call the person you haven't seen, send a card, whatever it is, and help them to know the gifts that you're given by God so that they can be blessed as well, and they can tell you about their gifts and how they're blessed.
Right.
And we can praise God together in that way.
That was awesome. Thank you very much.
Gotcha,
I
man.
appreciate your time, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Yeah, come on,
and that goes to you
yes.
out there. Merry Christmas and God bless
Absolutely.
until next time.
Take care.